His name has become synonymous with terror.
In California, 5 members of a so-called religious cult, including Charles Manson, the guru or high priest, have been indicted in the murder of Sharon, Tate, and 6 others.
His sadistic murder shocked the world. Charles Manson was charged with controlling and directing the killers.
I don't have any guilt. I know what I've done.
Todesstrafe in Kalifornien.
And now, 50 years later, he remains the face of evil.
Helter Skelter.
From behind bars, he seeks out his final victim, his own family.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran.
Searching for closure from a criminal who shares the same blood.
My grandfather, Charles Manson.
I wish I could bring you into what I'm doing.
It's hard to look back and know where you come from.
I did not want my son around that. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
What's going to happen to me? Am I going to kill somebody? Is this in the family tree? Is this in the genes, in the blood? I want to face him face to face. I want to know the answers because I'm sick of feeling lost. No matter who he is, he's still family.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is, you're me. There is no self. There's mine me.
Mind me.
Mine me. Get yourself all the way back to me.
I want to update our breaking news right now. Charles Manson, one of the most notorious murder masterminds in U.S. history, has died at the age of 83. The California Department of Corrections says he died of natural causes on Sunday. Manson was serving 9 consecutive life sentences for murder and conspiracy to commit murder for ordering a wave of killings back in 1969.
At 8:30 this morning, Winifred Chapman, an employee, came to work at 10050 Cielo and found several bodies in the house, and immediately the police were notified.
Friday night in Los Angeles, a movie actress and 4 of her friends were murdered. The circumstances were lurid. The movie actress is Sharon Tate, 26.
The pregnant actress, who was married to the director Roman Polanski, was brutally murdered, along with 4 of her friends.
Charles Manson is the quintessential, most notorious murderer ever. Helter Skelter was the name of a Beatles song, but for Charles Manson, it was basically, Armageddon.
His interpretation was there was going to be a race war, and it would be blacks against whites, and the blacks would rise up and defeat the whites, but they wouldn't be able to run the world, and Charlie would rise up out of the desert, and he would take over everything.
A short time later, not far away, a middle-aged couple was found murdered in similar circumstances.
The so-called Manson family killed again, tying up and murdering a wealthy couple.
He wanted to show that the beautiful, rich people needed to be killed, murdered 2 more people for a total of 7 horrible, mutilated stabbings and killings.
Los Angeles police have connected some members of a nomadic gang with the murders of actress Sharon Tate and others.
Sharon Tate was 8.5 months pregnant, and she was just picked at random. Manson didn't know her. None of the family members knew her. Sharon Tate begged for her life. She said, "Please don't kill me. I just want to have my baby." And Susan Edkins said, "Look, bitch, I don't care about you or your baby. You're gonna die, and you better be ready for it, and I don't feel a thing about it." Susan Adkins had dipped a towel in Sharon Tate's blood and then wrote "pig" on the front door. Yeah, it was definitely a gruesome scene.
All the elements are present for one of the most sensational murder trials in American history.
He was a detestable excuse for a human being. I mean, Manson was in it for Manson. Everyone else existed to do his bidding by becoming famous for the murders.
The shaved heads and the X's in the courtroom when Charlie would nod and they would say the same thing in unison. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like that.
Today, the judge formally passed sentence on Charles Manson and his girls. The death penalty, he said, for 7 senseless murders. He said not only was the sentence appropriate, but almost compelled in this case. So, death in the gas chamber, he said.
Do you believe that there should be a death penalty?
A death penalty?
Yes, for someone who commits a murder or something like that.
Aren't we all born to die?
Charles Manson was originally sentenced to death, but in 1972, the death penalty was overturned as unconstitutional, and so he and the rest were then commuted to get life sentences.
Yeah, I'm going back down in an old hole. How do you feel like it was good here?
That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Was just to get my grandfather to the funeral home.
I'm gonna get out of your way. I'll let you guys have your time together.
Kelly, you have a prepaid call from Charlie, an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
What's going on?
If we could communicate, I could show you another level of reality that has never been accepted.
Yep.
Don't carry a bunch of trash around your head.
I sent you a postcard.
Anything, I'll trick you. I'll trick you and tie you up. But I don't think you can get to me. Because I'm too deep. See it?
I see it.
We'll call it a prison. These fucking assholes. They don't realize what they're going to get for it.
That's it. Conversation over. My cousin told me who my grandfather was. I was young, I really didn't understand it, so I went home and asked my mother. She asked me not to talk about it.
It was just something that I never talked about. And nobody else in the family would really talk to him about it. I didn't want him to think that that was in him, because that would have been his bloodline.
I did a little bit of research, and they talked about a cult leader, people were killed, and I saw the swastika and the crazy talk, all this dramatic stuff, and I thought, is this part of who I am?
Charles Manson is serving his life sentence for murder in San Quentin prison. That is where we talked with him. He never heard you express remorse. Have you never felt it?
Remorse for what? You people have done everything in the world to me. You know, if I wanted to kill somebody, I'd take this book and beat you to death with it, and I wouldn't feel a thing. Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be related to Charles Manson. I'm just curious, how do you go through life with that name?
Charles Manson is part of my bloodline, and I don't have a choice. I have to live with that.
Understanding me is understanding yourself. The reality is, you're me.
got all these here.
Max, you want to put this stuff back in my car? And
AJ would say it.
Yeah, he would say it.
He would say it. Say the bad word.
I met Jason when I was 22.
I told my mom, I said, hey, I met this guy. And, you know, he said that he's the grandson of Charles Manson. And her face, you know, her eyes got real big. And she said, well, we're not going to tell your dad about this for quite some time.
You don't really want to be known for being a so-called killer's grandson.
He's doing the fridge, that goes on.
I'll get phone calls out of the blue. It'll be an unknown caller, so I'll send it over to the voicemail, and yeah, they tell me they just want to kill me. They know where I live. It's like, why you want to kill me? They know what my grandfather did 50 years ago. That's why I have guns in my house now. That's why I have cubby holes set up. I even stage my backyard out sometimes.
Now, where I live is a small town, but I mind my own business. I stay away from people because I don't want them to ask me about it. Those people that commit those murders, they don't realize what they're doing to the people left behind.
First time I talked to Charles Manson on the phone, I was definitely nervous. I'm still angry. I still have resentment. On one side, he's family and I want to get to know him, and then on the other hand, I hate him. So in my eyes, we had a long way to go, and it was going to take time. My grandfather's famous in California. That's where he created all of his Notorious fame, but he grew up in West Virginia.
Charles' mother was Kathleen. Her mother had not very much to say that was good about her. I heard that she had quite a bad reputation. She would lure men home, and then her brother would beat them up and rob them.
Kathleen Maddox was a girl who liked to have fun. And Kathleen just wanted to go out and drink and party. She had a very religious upbringing. Her mother was Nazarene. Kathleen was only 15 when she got pregnant, and her lover at the time, Colonel Scott, was 24, and he didn't want to marry her. So he left, and she ended up an unwed, pregnant teenager, and so she had to go and find a husband, which she did 4 months before Charlie was born, and they got married to give her son a name. Kathleen was arrested with a roommate and her brother, Luther, for basically taking this guy in a bar, dancing with him, and then saying, hey, let's go party. They grabbed a ketchup bottle, filled it up with salt, hit him over the head with it, stole his car, and left him by the side of the road. Charlie would go to visit his mother at the prison, and she told him that she was cleaning the area where they were executing prisoners, and she hid in a closet and watched one. So when he was ultimately convicted and sent to death row, that memory really resonated with him and came back to actually have an impact on his life.
And I also knew that she didn't want to take care of Charles. She put him in a home, and when he ran away, she took him right back. So he didn't have near the life that you'd want for any child.
Charlie was in reform schools, juvenile detention facilities, because he just kept stealing cars and running away and escaping. And in order to punish him, the only thing they could do was send him to a more secure facility. So while he was in these institutions, he got an education that was entirely different from that the rest of us get.
So his grandmother agreed to let him live with her if he attended church, because that was important to her. And that arrangement was what brought him here. His grandmother had a big heart, one of the nicest people I've ever met. And it was evident that she cared a lot about Charles. He was only with his grandmother through the first, maybe part of the second grade. I think anybody would have loved to have her for their grandmother. She knew her Bible backwards and frontwards, and that would have been the saving grace for Charles if he had listened to her.
Growing up in Benwood, McMecken area, it was all railroaders and people who worked in the steel mills. That was primary. There was some coal miners, but it was a nice place.
It was a good town to grow up in. I met Charlie actually one time. I happened to be on Marshall Street in front of Joseph's confectionery, and Charlie had his back up against the confectionery, and we were just talking, but the thing that made an imprint on me was the fact that he had a machete.
He seemed to be very quiet to me. He didn't talk a whole lot.
He wasn't swinging it maliciously, but he was just going back and forth, and we spoke for a short period of time and then went our ways.
I had a Halloween party with the Sunday school and invited Charles to come, and he did. He came dressed as a carnival barker, but my cousin and I were the only ones who spent time with Charles. And I think he went home just a little bit hurt.
Rosalie was a kind of outgoing person and very attractive.
Charles went to Wheeling Downs, which is a horse racing track, and Rosalie's father always took her with him. Charles met her there, and they hung out the whole day, and she was the one.
By all accounts, Rosalie Willis was Charlie Manson's first and only true love in his life.
I was at Charles's wedding reception, and I have to say, I would imagine that was the happiest day of his life. He was just beaming, smiling the whole time. And I think Rosalie was only 15. Then they left and went to California. And as I understand, life went pretty sour after that.
Charlie and Rosalie went out west in a stolen car, and eventually the law caught up to Charlie and he was arrested. So he went to jail. Rosalie was pregnant, and she came to visit him for a short time with the baby and then stopped coming.
I can remember hearing that she was pregnant, and I assumed that she did have a son with Charlie.
The one thing that I always admired around here is the local press would never, ever reveal her son's name.
Charles Manson Jr. was named after his father, obviously, but when Rosalie started dating a truck driver named Jack White and started a family with him, she wanted her child to match her other children with her new husband, so she renamed him Jay White.
Jay and I started dating. He was a lot of fun. He always made you laugh. And he was a gentle guy. He wasn't mean or nothing. He was really nice. He said he never knew his dad, had never met his dad. And so then when his dad committed those murders, he was just a kid, and he didn't understand. When I met your dad, I met a boy named Jay White. That's what he called himself. Jay started telling us that his dad was Charles Manson, and we didn't even know who Charles Manson was.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we were just kids. I never thought much about it. Yeah. Then when I went to Cadiz and met Jay's family.
Oh, so they admitted to it there at that point?
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, when Jay went to get his driver's license, his ID had to be Charles Manson Jr. Because you can't go by Jay White legally.
Right. I didn't think it was legally changed.
No, not then. No, it wasn't. It wasn't legally changed. And to be honest with you, he had two Social Security cards, one in Jay White and one in Charles Manson Jr. Now, how he did that, I don't know. I don't even know how his mother did it. I don't know who did it. When anything legal come up, he had to go under Charles Manson.
Oh, he had to? Holy cow.
So then when he got a job in the coal mine, he had to go in under Charles Manson. We were never married.
Uh-huh.
And he just wasn't there when you were born. When he was little, his father was my husband, Dink. His nickname was Dink, but his real name's Glenn. I just told him that he had a different dad, but he didn't. He lived far away and wasn't able to come and see him.
At a young age, I didn't really understand why he wasn't around. I grew up knowing that I had a biological father, but he didn't engage in activities with me. I can't say that it was very troublesome at that time because my stepfather filled that void. All I ever heard was my grandfather. He's a killer, he's a boogeyman, he's a cult leader, he murdered all these people.
It was such a horrific murder that it dominated the headlines at the time. A family of crazy people who were under the influence of Charles Manson, that he was able to convince them to do this. It was just a shocking incident.
There was so much hatred for Charles Manson that anytime my father's name came up, it like the house exploded, shit shut down. It's like, it can't be talked about. You know, somebody give me some answers.
Jay told me that he tried to see his dad, but his dad wouldn't see him. You know, if that's true or not, I don't know. But I believe that he did write to him or try to see him. The older your dad got, and the more he talked about Manson. I didn't want him around you because I didn't want you around those kind of people.
Like why or what? You know, what do you...
He couldn't understand why his dad wouldn't see him. He couldn't understand why his dad wouldn't answer his letters. He wanted to see him because he wanted to meet his dad and find out why he never had a dad. Well, it should be pretty evident why you don't have a dad. He's a criminal. He's in prison. It hurt him the most in his lifetime, but I didn't want him shoving it over onto you because you just grew up completely different. You had a mom and a dad. We had a family. And that's something Charles didn't have, something Jay didn't have. So I was actually happy as you got older that I didn't have to deal with him.
Oh.
But I never said it to you. I never wanted to run your dad down in front of you or nothing.
With the Tate LaBianca murders, those choices snowballed into my family's life, right? They snowballed right into my father's life. He didn't ask for it. He was born into it. As a father, I think of my children. I want to be in their lives because I know what it's like to not have my father in my life.
I met Jay in the probably mid-70s, just going into the bar with my friends after work. And at that time, the Manson murders were only 5-6 years ago. You could actually tell from, after you got to know him and talking to him and stuff, you could see there was a lot of anxiety that he was definitely holding within.
I didn't realize that he fought so many demons. When my father would come back in town, I would get a letter, I'd get a card, I'd get something for my birthday, I'd get a Christmas gift. He didn't know how to be a part of my life. He didn't know how to be the father that a child needs.
Maybe he personally saw things in himself like, hey, that's way too much like my dad. And I think maybe that might have scared him. Several times I've personally heard him say, how can I go on being Charles Manson's son?
It was in the afternoon, my freshman year, and they pulled me out of school. I didn't know why yet. My mom didn't come pick me up. Nobody told me what was going on yet. Because they were just telling me how sorry they were, and I'm like, what's going on, Mom said that she got a call from Grandma Rosie and said that my father pulled on the side of the road and shot himself. I was angry after my father's death. There was a lot of unanswered questions, emotions that would come up out of the blue.
I couldn't believe he would do something like that. I was shocked, really shocked.
On the day that we buried him, I remember Grandma turning to me and looking at me and saying, "Now it's buried." She said, "We're putting a rock on top of it." End of story. I don't ever want to hear his name again. And I didn't understand what she was talking about because I was only a freshman in high school and I didn't even know how to accept the death of my father yet.
And it's very confusing for him why normal kids get to have regular grandparents and parents, and not only has he not seen his could probably be one of the biggest villains in the country. So it was tough for him to even talk about.
I started writing Charlie in 1999. It was more like, I wonder if he'd write back. It was curiosity. I wrote a poem entitled The 5 Cold Tears of San Quentin. It touched him enough to write me back, ask for my phone number. I gave it, and he called, and the rest is history. We've just maintained this friendship. I got a phone call, and Charlie said, "Hey, man, I need a favor." Charlie likes to send you on these missions. Manson asked me to find his son, Jr., because there was a rumor that he had committed suicide. And I think Manson was looking for confirmation because he didn't believe it. There was no proof, he said. He's out there, there's no, find him for me. So when I did, and sure enough, it led me to Colorado. I had to pay, I think it was like $14 for a copy of the death certificate, and right on the death certificate, it's got the same date of birth, AKA Charles Manson Jr., Jay White, and I sent it to Charlie. Sad to say, but it's true, Charlie. He committed suicide in 1993.
After my father, Charles Manson Jr., died, I seemed to get into a lot of trouble.
It was just another negative he had to deal with. One more thing for him to try to pretend that everything was okay, but it was eating him up.
I had the tunnel vision of a young kid. I was always on probation every summer. Vandalism, petty theft.
He sold drugs, he got in trouble for it, and I really didn't know he was doing all that.
I spent 8 months in prison and 6 months in a rehabilitation halfway house. I think I was so out of control that going to prison would be a blessing. I would always find something positive out of it so that I didn't kill my own spirits. When I was locked up, I had about 4 months left, and I ran into a guy who opened up to me, and he said, "Jason, I won the 1982 Tough Man tournament." And I'm like, "So you fought?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "That was a big achievement for me," and he's like, "Nobody can ever take it away from me." I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome. You know, he won the championship." I'm thinking, it's like, man, Freeman, you're more than this. You're better than this. Lift yourself up out of where you're at. When I got out, I made a new goal that I was going to get into boxing and mixed martial arts.
Moving on to our second of 3 main events, Jason the Freebird Freeman.
I had heard about Jason just from his fight career, but I hadn't met him. I didn't know who he was personally. I was 22 and I was bartending. A friend of mine had bought this establishment and we weren't open yet. And there was this knock at the door. So there stood these 3 big guys wanting to come in and eat wings. And one of them was Jason. So he was there all night flirting with me. And every time I would serve him a beer, he would, tip me $5, $10, $20, whatever it was. So yeah, I think he pretty much bought me the first night. It was about a week into us dating. He said, "Well, you're gonna hear something." And he said, "I'm just gonna tell you now." He said that my grandfather's Charles Manson. He didn't get into a whole lot with me because we were so fresh in our relationship.
I'm like fighting my way out of my hometown. and fighting my way away from my past. It feels like a family tree has a branch around you, just slowly taking its time to suck the last piece of breath out of you. Well, at the end of my career, I realized that I had to grow up and get a real job. So I could either go in a hole and work in the mines, or I can go up high and work in the oil field. And I thought, well, you can't bury a freebird underground, so I had to pick the oil field.
At that time, Jason's stepdad was still alive. So it was kind of something that I understood wasn't talked about. It wasn't until Jason's stepdad passed away, and then it seemed like more and more and more he felt more free to talk about his real dad and then talk about his grandpa. So I didn't learn about a lot of his life, of course, till later on.
I knew it was a matter of time before it did come out. Those things are going to surface. I wanted to be that one to let it come out.
You have to be awful comfortable in your own skin. If that's a decision you made and you want to go public with it and acknowledge it, you have to be 100% sure why you're doing it, and to be able to walk down the street with your head held high, because you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Once you say you're his grandson, that's it.
Today, this member of the real Manson family says, enough.
I am who I am. You know, I'm not something that he was. CNN was working with Matthew Roberts, Lintz, for quite some time.
And he claims to be a son of Manson, alleging that his mother was involved in this wild orgy with Manson.
Roberts tried to get a DNA match with genetic material from Charles Manson himself, but the samples were contaminated. But there is another way to establish the family link. Matthew Roberts and Jason Freeman, if they're related, will share Manson's DNA.
They had us on camera to see if we're related. And I thought I was going to see my uncle. You know, I thought, I mean, he looks like he's got the big old bug eyes.
And we determined with scientific certainty that you do not share a common biological ancestry.
No match on any level. But everything has a reaction, and everything has a ripple effect. Being on CNN with Matthew Lintz for a DNA test, the ripple effect worked its way all the way to my grandfather.
A buddy of mine called me and said, hey man, you need to turn on this news channel, quick. And I said, why? He said, man, do it quick. So I turned it on, and sure enough, there was Jason Freeman. And the caption below, it said, grandson of Charles Manson. And right away, I said, well, here we go again. And just another guy claiming to be related to Manson. But what stood out to me was when they asked him about his father, Charles Jr. And here I see this 6-foot burly cage fighter crying. There's some real emotion there. So I found him. I wrote him a letter.
I got a letter from John Michael Jones, just opening up and pouring out his heart. I call him up and I'm like, hey, John, this is Jason Freeman.
And I'm like, hey, man, hey, I'm glad you called. I says, let me introduce myself. I'm a friend of your grandfather's, and, you know, he asked me to reach out to you.
He opened up and shared with me how he really, truly loved my grandfather.
Manson called not even a night or two later, and I says, hey, you're not gonna believe who I talked to. He's like, yeah, who's that? I said, your grandson, Junior's kid. Junior had a kid. I said, okay, he's got pictures of Rosalie, he's got pictures of Junior, death certificate, birth certificate, and he got quiet. He's like, pictures of Rosalie. I'm like, he's got pictures of Rosie, Charlie. He's like, yeah, but are they pictures that, I said, no, these are pictures I've never seen. He's like, you've never seen any of them? I said, none of them. It's him. All right, I need you to find out more about this guy. I said, I already did. I already talked to him on the phone. Oh, so what's he look like? Who's he look like? Is he fat? For some reason, that was important to him. How many kids he got? You know, what color hair do they have? Does any of them have freckles? Like what kind of questions are that? Like freckles. But then as I started to ponder that after the 15-minute phone call, I started to think, those are grandfatherly questions. you know? So I started to slowly feel Charlie accept Jason.
Most people's childhood memories are their grandpa bouncing on their knee, or grandpa usually teasing their grandsons, and Jason never had that from his biological father, and never had that from his grandfather. So I think it's Jason's inner need to connect with his roots.
I hope to get Jason one step closer to meeting his grandfather. It's important for me to do that because I think it's going to benefit Charlie just as much as Jason, if not more.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at California State Prison, Corcoran, California.
The first time I talked to Charles Manson on the phone is when I was in the oil field. It was a little loud, but I made sure that I was on time by the phone, because when you call from prison, you get one call. So my grandfather's first conversation, he started venting about his case. He actually informed me of a lot of what he thought, that his rights were taken from him. He was wrongfully accused for the murders that he wasn't present at. So he was informing me of the rights that were pulled from him back in the 70s.
How comes the court shirked and turned their backs on me and wouldn't give me my rights? When it come to defense time, he said, we're taking too long, and this covered it up and told the public another outburst, another Manson outburst. What defense did I put on? What witness did I call? Did I call one witness? Yeah, I got peace. But until everybody's got peace, I can't have peace. In other words, I got you. But I can't have you until everybody else gets you. And then when everybody else gets through with you, then I'll get you.
I was still angry about my father's death, and I was pointing that finger right at him.
When Jason was interacting with Charles, I was really shocked. I didn't like it at all. He was a grown man. I guess I can't stop him, but I did not like it.
I really wanted to know what they talked about. Like, you don't tell him where we lived or anything. I mean, the fact that he was in California, I was good with that. Like, I know he's not coming here, so, you know.
I like for us to keep talking more. I like to record our phone calls.
Yeah, haven't you been doing it?
As we continued phone calls for the first year, that was, one of the hardest things of my life.
In the beginning, they were both very standoffish. I think first, Charlie has a lot of people who want to contact him and do contact him, and then Jason was kind of at a loss, what do I even say? So he was struggling to carry on conversations.
Did you do what I asked you?
Not yet.
Yeah, I figured. I knew you couldn't have did it if you tried real hard. You're incompetent and brain dead.
Fuck you.
You're upset, and then you're going to get mad if you tell me the truth.
Hey, I ain't upset. Just don't get mad at me if I tell you to fuck off. It's all right.
Charlie had a lot of regrets, and one of them was not being there for Junior. And I think he was, in a sense, trying to make it up through Jason. I think he had regrets for not what he called parenting. He wasn't a parent to this one or that one.
Because I've never been parent to you. I've never been anything to you in particular.
Well, we haven't had that chance to, until now, to understand each other more. And
well, understanding me is understanding yourself, and you're a long way from that.
it was hard not to place all that anger and the death of my father on his shoulders. I thought that my father couldn't handle the pressure of who his father was, and that's why he killed himself.
Imagine a guy that would commit suicide because he couldn't stand what somebody else did. That guy must have been he was really warped, man. in a situation that had a lot of pressure to it.
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, well, you knew the guy. I didn't know him.
As we got to know each other, and he told me that he didn't get the messages, he didn't get the letters, he didn't get the stuff from my father that was sent out there. He said that there was so much going on, and there was so many people, he didn't know who was who and who was real. And he just didn't want to bring him into that same darkness that he's created for himself.
You have a prepaid call from the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. Only I can lock me up. Everything in the world is in my mind. I rule me. Me is all there is to me. See it?
Last year, we were in my garage, and Manson had called him, and he put him on speakerphone.
I'm everybody. I'm everywhere. I'm everything. I'm nothing. I never was. I've always been. The paradox is like the double entendres that are one way and the other way. I know, but I don't know. I don't know that I don't know. If I don't know that I don't know, how could I know what knowing is?
I started thinking to myself, here's my buddy who's chased this and trying to get some answers and some soul searching, and this is the conversation that he gets with his grandfather. It wasn't much of a conversation, it was just Charles Manson talking.
I could tell you things about spiders and solitary confinement that you wouldn't believe. You can't be too smart. You've got to be on a low-life level to understand the low-life consideration.
At that point, I didn't know how good it was for him emotionally to continue to make these phone calls to the prison. But it also wasn't my business. My job was just to support him.
I tried to tell my son that. I said, Jason, he's a criminal. He's always going to be a criminal. He just is who he is. Just from what you see on interviews and stuff, how crazy he talks.
Kids, see, it's your life. It's not mine. I'm just another guy walking down the road going, how many times I got to go through, where's God at? She got a face, got a print. What is it?
I just didn't want him filling Jason's head full of crap.
There's good in Charles Manson. I don't care what anybody else thinks. It's there. The evil things that he was involved with, that's the evil side of life.
Charlie began to see that Jason wasn't a struggling actor or a starving musician, but that he was just an average Joe, and a dad who was just supporting his children, a family man who just wanted to know his grandfather.
I think that he's proud that he's his grandson, and look what he's overcome. Like, could everybody else in this room, could everybody else that may watch this, could you be Charles Manson's grandson and then develop a family like him and, be an entrepreneur and be as successful as him and have beautiful kids and a wife?
You have a prepaid call from the California State Prison, Corcoran, California. How's your kids, man?
Man, they're doing good, brother.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to grow up like the kitchen, man.
At first, I would, he would be talking, oh, here's my wife, Audrey. I mean, he was as close to normal that you can include in the same sentence with Charles Manson, but fairly normal.
Who are you going to vote for?
Me?
You're going to vote for Trump? What about Hillary? Because you're doomed if one wins and you're damned if the other one wins.
So in the beginning, he didn't start talking to the kids. It wasn't until after Jason and him had kind of developed a relationship, and then he wasn't the crazy monster that he was made out to be.
I don't like the thought of the kids knowing stuff.
He would call our house, you know, the kids would talk to Charlie on the phone. It was just kind of like, hey, your grandpa's on the phone.
Yeah, they reflect you.
That's why I have to keep myself in check, because my kids are following what I do.
You working regular? That's what counts. You got kids, you gotta have that job, man.
Take care of your kids, take care of your family.
Take care of yourself, that's all you got, man.
Yeah.
You certainly don't have me.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm a cold dude, man. I feel hard like a mother. I leave you sitting in a cell and I be up on a train.
I'll be in your back pocket. Yeah, I ain't going nowhere.
Jason never looked at it like he was talking to a cult serial killer. He was always talking to his grandfather.
I'm his grandson. I can't look at him as just being evil.
Overall, I think Jason came out of those years with some sort of connection with his grandpa.
Well, I'm looking for some relief from this dilemma that I'm on the horns of this devil I'm riding over here. I'm trying to figure out a way to get out from underneath this bullshit, and I can't find a way.
Well, however I could contribute to help my grandfather, I would do that, because because if you're family, you're family, and nothing comes in between that. It wasn't a goal at first. It wasn't like something that off the top of my head I'm like, one day I want to see my grandfather. I know my mom's asked me in the past, hey, do you ever want to see your grandfather? And then I didn't have a reason to.
I supported him in whatever happened. So if he wanted to go, I was supporting that. If he didn't want to go, I was supporting that.
As I got older, as my kids grew, and as my kids got older, I think of my father, I think of my grandfather, and just kind of rolls full circle. And why wouldn't I want to meet him?
He had COPD. He had a bad heart. He was complaining of all different kinds of things. But mainly the cancer weakened him. He was bleeding a lot.
You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, Corcoran, California.
Hey, Grandpa, I'm supposed to ask you for a visitation paperwork so I can come and visit you.
Yeah.
I need.
Let me explain something to you, man.
Okay.
You're a cage fighter. You understand what it's like to fight for what you get.
All right.
When I came to prison, if you want to visit, you go to the front gate and you tell the guy I want to visit Charles Manson, and they can't stop you.
Welcome back, everyone. Cult leader Charles Manson has reportedly been moved from prison to a hospital here in California. Sources telling the LA Times the convicted mass murderer is in serious condition.
It was no secret, Charlie was very sick. And it was different this time because he started to lose weight, a lot of weight. I just knew it was it. I felt it.
I thought this guy can't last much longer.
As he gets older, no matter who he is, he's still family. I want to be beside him. I believe that the first time I see my grandfather could possibly be the last time I see my grandfather.
Jason's ready to go to California. And you know, it's almost one of those things when you feel in your gut that you have to do something and it's got to be fairly quickly. That's how he feels.
I just couldn't sit at home anymore, working every day, knowing that he's on his deathbed, in and out of the hospital.
The major thing is preventing Jason from seeing Charlie is the so-called list at the prison. Jason's not on the approved list to see Charlie, and it's probably going to be the first and the last time that he meets him, but I think that'll bring closure not only for Jason, but for Charlie too. It's definitely going to be an emotional visit for my husband, and you can't pick your family all the time, and the fact that it's Charles Manson, but he's going out there because it's his grandpa.
I wish he just forgot about the whole thing and just let it go.
To me, Jason is that last bit of normalcy in Charlie's life that he's gonna have before he passes away, to feel that bond between a grandfather and a grandson. And Jason, to me, is the only last living descendant that gives a crap, that wants a part of Charlie's life, that wants to be there to help him.
The pressure that I get from being his grandson is overwhelming. Man, it's just a matter of time until they get stretched too far, until it just breaks.
There isn't a self. You're in it. You're me. I'm you. You're in my blood.